All righty, so here we go. I haven't done much to the song or the track, instrumental cue, I should call it. I usually call it songs if it's got lyrics, but so I guess instrumental cue would be the correct term I'd call this one. I haven't really done much. I did edit the bass just a little bit just before we got on the call, and so you guys aren't watching me edit everything because editing's okay to learn, but once you learn it once, it's like okay, there's not too much more I need to learn, watch someone edit. So we'll dive in. I do have to edit a couple of things, but then we'll jump into adding some extra drums, like reprogramming some drums and just arranging stuff and panning and mixing, and I think we'll be out the door. But let's just do a real quick recap here with what confident sports rock is. Let me get my screen here. All right, there we go. So confident sports rock. Where's my Oop, going everywhere here. All right, so here we go. Here's my little thing. Confident sports rock is going to be up tempo 120 to 140. I believe this song is in 120. The emotion is tough rock, attitude strong, energetic, all those kind of things. Energetic would be kind of maybe I could delete that one, or I put it on last because it's more about the attitude and more about the strong, the rough, and the toughness of it. The energetic would for me, would kind of lend itself to more really up tempo stuff that's just more not hypo, but just really just a lot faster. Just like let's just totally go. More. So this one, that's why I put it last. It's more of a you could so that's not, you don't want to focus on the energetic side too much. Mostly the tough and the rough kind of stuff, the attitude. The elements are electric guitars, bass, and drums. That's all we're going to do in this one. We're going to do no organs. When you start adding organs or some stringed kind of stuff, you're starting to get into more. The organs would give it maybe more of a swampy kind of sound, or just a little bit different flavor. But when you add just a rawness of just a few instruments, that's what I feel like a bit more of the rough area kind of comes from. So let's dive in. So as I said, I think I've edited the bass here. So I'm actually going to just consolidate that, make that a little bit cleaner for my visuals so I can see that that's done. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear this when I play it. All right, cool. So we can hear it. All right, so if anybody has watched the first part, you'll see I actually did a little bit of copying and pasting in this one. Sometimes I don't recommend it too much. I like to do a certain kind of amounts of redoing some, but some stuff it's okay. If you're under a crunch, then you can kind of get away with a little bit, as long as you're adding other parts. And I do, in the green here, I do have a couple of other elements going, so it's not all just a copy and paste. So let's just tune up, or not tune up, get these tighter. So here's a little trick for anybody who's using Pro Tools, or you might be able to do it away your like on your, like it's kind of a shortcut of way of cleaning up some of these little claps or the chugs. So you can go over here on Pro Tools, you can go to Rhythmatic, and it kind of comes up with, it kind of does something underneath. Well, I need to do this one too. It does something underneath the hood that makes it, you could, I guess you can just, I don't know exactly how it does it, but I just know that you can do this. And then so it kind of puts it all in those, like you can see the lines, and I can kind of quantize it like, let me get this right. I can quantize it just like normally you can't quantize audio. So this is a way to quantize these little sections. They do get a bit funky when the note holds out. So I don't usually do it on notes that hold out, but if it's like very percussive like this, then you can definitely do it. So then I just quantize it. So I'm just going to bump them to right on 16th. I don't know if you can kind of see it cuts them. And inside this underneath I guess it's elastic, called elastic audio. But underneath there, it actually trimmed them, and it actually did the fades and everything. So it's a really kind of cool thing. And So look that up on your DAW. It's kind of an old trick I've been using for a long time. So, and there it is again. Here, I'll show you what it looks like closer. See, everything just moved. So now I just have a listen back, and you have to kind of print it. A cool little trick. But as I said, on stuff that's holding out, like these notes here, these long held out notes, it gets so weird. It's like it does this like really weird kind of thing. So you can't do it on long held out notes. But if it's like kind of short like this, then you can. So let's have a listen and see if that sounds right. Yep, except it did pop on that very last part here. See that? So I want to make sure I fade that. And just looking at the beginning, yep, that's clean. When I edit something like that, a lot of the times I will just go ahead and consolidate that, because then I know it's done. It's just all clean. It's one piece. I don't like this one here. I'm going to see if that first one's better, or one of these other ones maybe down here. Oh, maybe this one. All right, cool. I like that. All right, so let's go ahead and start editing some of these guitars. So I'm also watching for the grid. This one's a little late. There's a little late there, a little late. Sometimes if they're all a little bit late, that's a nice, easy edit. So I just grab all of those, just bump them up a little bit, and we'll have a listen. So that one's a little late there. I'm going to look at that top one. That top one's better. So there we go. A little tighter. I don't like this note there either. Maybe it's the other one. Yeah, that's it. Just the way I played that note, I don't know, I didn't like it as much. And this one's a bit better. All right, so if anybody's noticing here, I'm not doing these fades. So because there's another shortcut here where you can just highlight the whole section. And as long as there's no long fades on purpose, you can just press F and it just does all these tiny little fades. So I don't go in, I don't have to go into every single one. I already know they're done. That bass actually came in a little early. So let's move him over. All right, so for anybody who's wondering too, this top one up here is the spare. So that's the one I'll pull from. And I think when I did the takes, I did 1, 2, 3. So by the third take, I nailed it a little bit more. So that's why that one's up the top. Now it's just a little bit on the beat. I'll do a couple little fades here. That was a little late there. Let's grab this top one. That was late there too. It's a bit better. All right, so you can see that that one's out of time. You can see that one's late and that one's early. So this is why I love doing those 3 takes, because I can just move this one down here. Don't have to stretch, don't have to warp anything. It's so quick. This one's late, and that one's late all the way to there. So I can move those all up a bit. All right, cool. Now, so I've already added the guitars. So this part here, I remember it's a copy. So I just copied that. So I'm actually just going to consolidate this now. Consolidate. I'm not sure if I missed any of those fades. So I'm just going to double check and press F and make sure that I did do fades on all those. Otherwise, I'll get a pop and I'll like, where's that pop coming from? All right, so we consolidated that. Now I'm just going to cut it right at the beginning here. And I think we go to about there somewhere. Now I'm just going to paste this in this next section. Right, that one's pretty early, so pull that back. Oh, don't want to cut it. So those are the spares, just for if you're wondering what those are. Oops. Those are my spares. Might not even need them. So now we're going to do a big fade on these because this is the ending note. All right, cool. We have our guitars. That was quick. All right, so heal that. I like to heal any edits. Just want to make sure I know that they're there's no pops, because as you guys have heard me say, you know, there's a lot of opinion in music, but pops out of being out of time, being out of tune, those are big black and white no-nos. So all right, so we hide that one. My guitars are done, my bass is done, drums is not yet, but let's have a listen to some of these little parts. This one here, actually, we'll come back to that. That's going to be like something washed out in reverb. We'll come back to that. But let's get the melodies down. Make sure they're in time. All right, so it's a little out of time there. It's a bit too raw and rough. So I like this last one better than the first one. So I'm actually going to copy that over here. Yeah, and just to make it super clean, I'm actually going to mute these sections so it's going to be silenced, and it's going to make it even cleaner. And we'll clean up that as well. All right, so I think this bottom one, this middle one is the spare. Let's just pull him up on top. Actually, it's got some extra stuff over here too. So let's just create another track. This stuff is going to be, I think that's going to be mono right down the middle for the second half of the song. But this part here is a spare. So it is a little late. I'm actually going to use that spare just now. All right, so when I get to this section, I know it's going to be ringing out and there's going to be some noise here. So what I like to do is I just zoom right in, and I can see, you can see that's where the noise is. And so get rid of that, and that's where the note stops and the noise starts. So we zoom back out. All right, that's cool. So that's the first part there. I am going to copy that. So just consolidate. I'll get rid of this guy. And let's see where I'm going to add that. Actually, I should be able to just add it from the beginning, where it comes in there. Oops, it's kind of cutting that off. So let's go back. I'm just changing the grid. Let's go 1 beat before it happens. That's the only problem, is I don't want to get rid of this last little run. So I have to chop this here somewhere. right, so again, we'll zoom up. There's a big pop there. Make sure I get rid of that. And so this is it. One more part I'm going to put in there. This is spare. That's snare. Something's wrong on that snare at the end. All right, so what was weird about that snare is this is programming drums. So a drummer goes right hand on the snare, snare, left, snare, and then if he hits the snare as well as a cymbal and the kick, you got to be careful if you're running out of hands to use. So that would actually work, but that's not how drummers kind of end it. They end it with two cymbals and the snare. So sorry, and the kick. So just kind of thinking like a drummer. If I put that snare in there, this is what it sounds like, and it sounds a bit weird. Sounds better without it. So just kind of thinking like a drummer. Cool. Okay, cool. We've got the bass, we've got the lead guitars, or melody, I should say, lead melody on those guitars. So I'm going to put that as lead. I'm just going to put a little bit of delay on it. I'm going to send it to kind of a different kind of delay. Chris Lord Algie's Epic. I like this. So let's see if we've got a preset for guitars. The edge might be too much. That might sound cool, just dialed down though. Let's see what that sounds like. All right, so now we have to send it to there. Yeah, that'd be cool. So it's buried down pretty low. So there's not too much going to it. Let's turn it up and then turn it down a bit more. So it's just going to create a lot more just stuff happening after the fact. I actually like that 8 as well. Might just pull it down. Cool. All right, cool. We're really kind of getting there. There's one more part to put in there. Let's color that part a different color. And we'll see how that works in there. All right, cool. It needs to be a little higher, so I'm going to cut out a lot of lows in that thin little one. let me open the chat if there's any questions. I haven't got the chat open. Where is the chat? There we go. All right, everyone's quiet anyway, so that's okay. All right, so here we go. Let's keep going into this last one. There's going to be more of an ambient kind of thing. If anything, this would be kind of like the organ or strings or something, because I'm going to put a ton of, at the moment it just sounds like this. But I'm going to put a ton of stuff on it. So we're going to put a shimmer. That's one of my favorites. Steve's Swell Shine. We're probably going to be turning that down quite a bit. And let's trying to think of something cool to do. I don't want to space it out too much. I wouldn't mind thickening it out, but let's just put some reverb on it. Could do the filter echo. Maybe I'll do a Sound Toys thing on it. Sound Toys, where's Sound Toys? Could put a decapitator on it, so an extra kind of distortion. That sounds awesome. I think that's so cool. Bad old radio. That sounds amazing. I'm loving that. So I'm going to add that later on to the song too, probably. See where it's going to fit. So I'm ending on the wrong note. I've got to make sure I have this note fading out there. That is so cool. Now I'm going to pull that down pretty low. So it's going to be more of this feeling of just not tension, but just this high kind of thing that kind of sounds like they're kind of holding on. Maybe there's a few of the root notes there, I think, but it's really kind of just an overall, just a high thing. Another thing that's really cool. You can grab these, the last notes. I think this will work. Just these last few notes. And I'm going to reverse them. And they're going to come up where the riff comes back in. So let's see how that sounds like. Yeah, I like that. Not as big as that, something a bit smaller. Start it over here. And do more of a gradual fade as it comes in. So I'm thinking edit point though. So if I do that, there's always a great edit point right there. So let me just see if I stopped that earlier. See if that sounds good if I stop right there. No. Still not liking that snare. Dun, 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 dun. Focus there's a tom up there too. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and look at those drums now, right from the top. We want to think like a drummer. Do I want to drum fill in? I think I might. Actually, I don't want any hats during this section here. So let's make sure we've got no hats. Let's turn it down just a bit. All right, fill there, I think. Yeah, that might sound cool. Actually, I don't want that fill. I'm going to do a tom thing. That's where I'm going to add the hats coming in. I'm not going to do it while there's no bass. So the bass comes in. It's got a lot of all the low frequencies happening, but then also the hats are going to come in at the same time there. I'm just going to take one little kick out there to make it a little bit more something different. You know, it's not just a loop. This is how we make things feel like a bit more like a real drummer. The drummer would be hitting the kicks, and then he's all of a sudden he's like, you know what, I'm not going to do a kick before that next section, so I'm going to mute that out. And so that's thinking like a drummer, and that gets away from a looped sound. And I'll take that one out too. I might even add two of them there. Nope. So because this is going to feel more like a real drummer, I'm actually going to change the velocity of these just a little bit, just move them around a little bit. As I push Command, it gives me that shortcut to pull it up or down. And there's a little number that comes up right here. If you're watching, that's what I watch for. It goes from 100 to, well, it goes from 0 to 127. So. Not yet. I might build it, so I'll do one on the first beat, one on the next measure, and then I'll double it, one on the first, and then one on the third, then I'll do one on every beat. See if that sounds good. Maybe, we'll see. I'm going to use a ride. Then when I come to this part, I'm going to maybe get rid of the hats again. that cymbal. Okay, so I want it to build. It keeps going. I want this to build a little bit more into that last section. So let's add a few extra snares. And I'm going to add the ride there again. All right, I'm liking those drums, liking those drums. Got a lot more program now. Now the question is, do I start with a drum fill? I think I like without a drum fill, but let's just have a listen. Da 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 da. Yeah, not as powerful. Maybe the snare doesn't come into the second as well. If I do miss the snare, I'm going to have to go really loud on this one. I like that actually, without the. Instead of doing that again, I'm just going to duplicate this. No, I did something different later, so I'm not going to do that. What would it sound like if I just mute, if it just comes in with the cymbals there? Yeah, I like that better. Okay, cool. So we're starting to wrap up here. So with the arrangement especially. So now I'm just going to add another drum. Something, I just want something really, maybe I'll just double this drum kit. So I'm just doubling the whole thing. So I'm going to put a different drum kit here. Which one do we have? We have the Fairfax Volume 2. I want this to, it's got to sound kind of grungy. So the pop drum kit would be 2. Black velvet might be a bit too clean, like tough and clean. That wouldn't work. Heavy wouldn't work. Pop's too clean. Vintage might be cool. Yeah, that's nice. I might just put some distortion on that one too. Let's put a what kind of distortion? Let's go to, I haven't used this guy too much. Now let's go to decisions. So many choices. Let's see what this guy's got. I don't think I've used this one. It's a bit more like a bit crutcher or something. That's pretty cool. I don't know what that would sound like in the mix, but let's have a listen. Might be too much work. I just want to. An old favorite is the retro color. It's been overused a lot, but sometimes it works. Take out the noise. Yeah, that's nice. So without it, it's a little bit cleaner. So let's have a listen without it, and then I'll put it in. Yep, loving it. Way better. All right, cool. So as we rest our ears here for a second, as I rest my ears, I'm going to just make sure I've got, I have a bass distortion going. That's going to be cool. So let's just make sure everything's going to the right channels. Got bass, going drums. Let's just put on an LA 2A for the bass. Else. That's pretty low now, minus 29. Let's see how that comes in. I'm going to put a little bit of a shelf, try and get some of the higher stuff of that ambient sound. All right, so there's a 10 to 2 trick. It's pretty cool on the 1176s. I'm going to see what that sounds like. That just gives it a little bit of punch. You put the attack knob at 10 and the release knob at 5. It's a 10 to 2, I think they call it. I think they called it Dr. Pepper or something. I think they called it the Dr. Pepper, where you have back in the day, I can't remember what year, maybe 70s or 80s, where Dr. Pepper commercials was you're supposed to have a Dr. Pepper at 10 and at 2. So that's why they put it 10 to 2. It's quite a cool little trick, but I've got that paralleled on my drums just to give it extra sound. Here's with it and without it. Cool, it just gives that little extra edge. The decapitator now on this bass. Let's have a listen to what we're doing there. Wow, just even running through that gives it a little bit of tone. All right, now it's going to be turned right down. All right, I'm going to send that ambient thing to the organ channel, which is ready to go. Now I'm going to make sure I've got high passes on everything that I don't want bass in. So in the rhythm guitars, I do want some of that low energy. That was kind of nice. It really lost it when I cut that out. I'm just going to boost a little bit of the melody here around probably 2.5, 3K. See if that makes it a little cleaner and a little clearer to stick out from the other electric guitars, because actually it's the same guitar, so I might need to do that. right, cool. My ears are getting to the point where it's like, I think I'm ready to do a first mix. So let's just yeah, I think we're getting ready for a first mix. So what I like to do on my mix bus, which is this one here, I have a CLA. It's called Mixdown. It's such a cool plugin. It really does glue all the mix together. It's really nice. And I might need a little bit more. I think I'm going to boost a little bit of treble. I think the bass is pretty good. And it might need a little bit of glue, and it's a hard, heavier song, so let's just push a little bit of drive. We'll see. We'll play with those as we go, and I might need to push it up a little bit here because it needs to actually be touching the meters and maybe get about -2 of gain reduction kind of thing. All right, now I'm going to go through my mastering chain. So if you watched these videos before, it's pretty much the same setup every time for the last 6 months. I think I add something or change something every 6 months, or maybe it's every Black Friday when there's sales and I buy the next one. So, but this is pretty much, I've had this loop for a while. I like it. It's great, great compressor here, but they're not doing much. We're not doing much at all here. Let's change this one. I do like this one a lot. It's a really good MS plugin. I have a setting, Steve's setting, that usually works a lot, and I just changed the mono maker to, I don't know, 150 or something around there, maybe 140, and that's just the mono. Just all the bass frequencies will be coming out. Everything below 140 will be coming out the center. Wow, it just makes it so much punchy. Let me go in and out. Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, I already had that going. Where's my... This Shadow Heals mastering plugin is really nice too. It's the red channel. I forget what they call it, but there's another one that's green, but this red one is just great. A discrete compressor and an optical compressor in the one thing, so it's really nice. I have another setting that I dialed in. So then I just watched the meters, and when I first got this, I walked through the tutorial, to see what all the buttons were doing and to make sense of all this craziness. And then and then you just set up what you do want most of the time. And for this one, you can change the ion, so you can use a steel, iron, or nickel transformer, and they do sound good. So I think this one's set. I forgot. I think it was just a. Oh, so that was on the nickel one. So, and then I just watched the. So this one controls this, or this is the VU for, or the meter for the optical, and you can change that as well. But this is and then this one over here is the VU for the discrete one. One little trick too for anybody watching the replay as well, is that I really like watching it as well and seeing the frequency, see if it's looking balanced as well as how it does it sound. It's kind of like using your ears and your eyes. I do like that. Of course, I grew up in the digital world, so that's always been available to me. Some people that are like, no, no, only ears, only ears. But I like that personally. I like to be able to see that it does look kind of balanced. There's nothing crazy happening at 60 hertz or anything, and there's nothing, it kind of just confirms a lot what you're hearing. And for me, let me just have a look at that kick and the bass. I want that kick to punch through just a little bit more. Let's find the exact where the kick is, and we just bump that up a little bit. I don't usually bump it up as much, but I think in this one I will. Probably around 55, but I'm also wearing these headphones. I got a feeling these only go down to 40, so I don't even know if I'm quite hearing that with these headphones, but let's boost that a little. So a trick that works a lot better, I think, is you actually just cut a little bit of the lows off. So to cut the lows off of the bass. So I'm just bumping this high pass filter up so it takes out a little bit more of those frequencies. This is running down to from 130. It has a shelf that runs down, but that always makes the kick through punch through a lot more. All right, cool. I think we're just wrapping up here. So this is what I like to do is I bring up this master channel. Just make sure I got a good fade. Nice. All right, where are we going to start? I always do this at the beginning. Wherever we start, I go 1/16th just before on the grid, so I know that I'm right at the 16th. It's not a random number. It's just you're right on the bit you're right. You know exactly. So if you have to print anything else, it's all going to line up. It's all taken from the same spot. What if we put just a little bit more bite into this? I'm just gonna, nah, that'll be fine. I'll have a listen, see if I need it in the mix tomorrow when I listen to the mix. All right, cool. Let's bounce this down. All right, now title. What are we gonna call this one? Um, um, it's always tricky on the titles. Uh, I don't know, it's a bit cliche, but teeth and nails. Um, teeth and bones, maybe, or um, teeth and bones. That'll be, I'll live with that. Yes, that's fine. Cool. All right, so let's play it right from the top so everyone can hear as well. So when you go back to the replay, you know exactly where it is. Cool. All right. So I think the drums were just a little bit hot, just listening back then. We're going to pull them down just a little bit before I bounce. Awesome. Awesome. There you go. So we've still got a couple of people with us. So yeah, so there you go. Any final questions or anything before I let everyone go? Or if you're a piano player, you could actually do this same kind of thing, but with piano, bass, and drums, more of an Elton John kind of thing, or those are ideas. You can do the whole thing. And the good thing about these instrumental cues is they need them all. They need so many genres. They need so many pieces of music, and this is rock number 7. Gosh, in the last 6 months, I think I did a rock album at the end of, I think, October or November. So it's just like, it's all the time. They want it for energy. They want it for, so many times the character has to feel tough, or has to look tough or strong, or maybe the bad guy's walking in. There's always a bad guy in every show or whatever. So just always using it. It's but anyway, so yeah, so hopefully that helps. What I'll do, just so everybody knows, um, tomorrow morning when I got fresh ears and with the speakers, I'll have a listen to the MP3 that I'm just about to print down now, and I'll listen with fresh ears, and I'll know exactly. I'll be like, okay, I'm in the ballpark, or I'm like, I'm gonna have to edit something. Usually, it pretty much takes me 2 to 3 mixes. Hardly ever is it one mix. Could also be a subconscious thing where, because you can tweak mixes for days, you could do 20 mixes until you feel like it's perfect. But I listen to it with more overall ears, where it's like, nope, that's fine. It does the purpose. I could if I keep polishing it, it's going to be really shiny, and then it loses the edge of this confident, rough rock kind of thing. And so yeah, so it's just all depending on what you want. But I'll come back and probably do 2 more mixes, but they won't be much different to this. There won't be really anything else I add, because this one's done. This one's around. 85%, 90%, it could be used all day, and then they need more. So it's like, all right. So awesome, guys. Well, good to see you. Scott, I hope your arm heals really quick there.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that this happened right when it's, oh yeah, let's do some guitar music for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that I'm not laid up too long with this, but yeah.
Yeah.
Quick question on your mono maker deal there on your EQ
Mhm.
200. Do you know of any other plugins that do that? Because it seems like overkill to load yet one more EQ onto the platform. Is there something that just does the mono maker stuff that you
Uh,
were saying?
Yeah, I think you can actually mute the EQ as well. So you can mute the EQ and have just the monomaker. But the only company I know of is a BX Brainworks or whatever it is by Plugin Alliance.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, just sharing the screen again here. The only company that I know that does that is the Plugin Alliance has it on so many of them. I think it even might even have it on this. Uh, no, oops. No, it doesn't have it on that one, but it has it on. Oops. So I have to hang on.
it was another compressor. It looked like Shadow Hills, I thought.
Yep, Shadow Hills does it as well.
Well, it looked like it,
Yep.
but it was another one with a lot of big black knobs.
So no, that doesn't do it there. So it
Oh
had
wait, it did
lots.
have a mono maker at the bottom
No, I
on the
think
right
that
hand
was.
side in the middle.
Um, oh yeah, there you go. Yep, absolutely. There it
Oh,
is.
there you go.
Yep.
Okay,
So,
yeah,
so
that's
that
cool.
has.
I have that one. I'll give that a shot. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, I do it ever since I saw it, ever since I started, I got that first mono mega. I'm like, oh, night and day. And it's just like, oh, that's even more stronger. That's great, you know.
So look at this. I got to ask you, hey, what knobs do I have that I can use for this?
Yeah,
I got to ask you.
absolutely. Yep.
So no, it's just yeah, if you haven't crawled around through every part of it, then that's the big part of it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, still more to crawl around through.
Absolutely. I know that's when I usually, if I don't have time, and there's half of my plugins I haven't done that yet. I haven't really watched a YouTube video or a tutorial, or hardly ever do I read the menu. Every now and then I do, but it's like oh, I just bought a plugin, but I already had what it does. So, oh well.
Yeah. So all right, yeah, sounds really
All right.
good on this track, Steve. Really,
Oh,
really like
cool.
it.
Yeah, this is about the 500th rock track I've done, probably. So,
Is that all?
yeah, that's all. So, maybe not. Maybe it's 200 or 250. But yeah, I've been doing at least an album of 10, maybe two albums a year for a while. And there was a couple of years there I just, you know, doubled down and did even more. So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of rock. But awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna let everyone go. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, or uh, I guess no one's here, but whatever. Everyone on the replay, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys on the chat.
Thanks. You get better, Scott.
No, thanks. Appreciate it. Take care, everybody.